Well, good morning. It's about 9 o'clock and today should be day 7 on the trail, but as you can see, that's not the Colorado Trail. I have been dealing with a medical issue for 3 or 4 days since I started the trail, and I was hoping it would resolve itself, and it's getting worse. And unfortunately, there was not an urgent care that could see patients on Saturday anywhere near where I was on the trail. So finally, Andy came and got me last night, and I made an appointment to get over here to the urgent care first thing this morning. I'm gonna go in and see what they have to say, and I will update you once I have some news. Okay, so here's the update. Went to the urgent care, had some tests done, and still waiting for some additional results, but I've got an infection that I need to get cleared up. So I've been to the pharmacy, picked up my meds. I am clear to go back on the trail as the antibiotics are very strong and could potentially have some severe side effects. I do need to watch myself, and I will probably be taking it easy for the first few days that I'm back on trail. It is Saturday now, and I'm going to get back to Breckenridge on Monday and start hiking again on Tuesday, probably doing like 13-14 mile days for a few days just to make sure that everything is okay. So that does mean that I have a little gap I'm going to have from Kenosha Pass to Breckenridge to the Gold Hill Trailhead. That's a hike I can do just with one overnight, so it's an easy weekend hike. And based on travel logistics, I need to go forward to Breckenridge rather than getting back to Kenosha Pass. So I'm going to just save that little overnight and do that at the very end of my hike. It is a section, obviously, that I've hiked before since I did half the trail last year, but I want to do the entire trail this year. So I will come back and knock out those miles just at the very end. Well, hello again. Since I am here in town for a couple days, for the weekend anyway, waiting for the rest of my lab results, waiting to make sure that I don't have too many side effects from the antibiotics that I'm on, which are making me kind of sick, so I'm a little glad I'm not on the trail today. I thought I would just share with you how I am spending my time. I'm actually doing the typical town chores, if you will, cleaning out my food bag, doing laundry, sorting my gear, and I'm actually having the chance to make a couple little gear tweaks and fixes since I'm home and all my gear closet stuff is here. So I'm switching out a few things like my pillow, particularly because I'm going to be seeing Andy next weekend. Actually, we had pre-planned to meet near Twin Lakes or Leadville. So he was already loaded up with some things for me, and that gives me the opportunity to try things for, a few days and see if I like them, and if not, I can just switch back to the original piece of gear. So I'm going to be switching out my pillow, testing a new headlamp, and maybe a couple of other items. I also wanted to share with you some kind of lessons learned from my first week on the trail. First thing is 20 milers. There were so many people out there who were trying to do 20 miles the first day, and they thought they could just hit the trail at Waterton and be off and hiking. Flying down the trail. And unfortunately, I saw several of those people who were in a really bad way just a day or two later. In fact, one young guy who looked super fit was really struggling. He actually had to go back to Denver for a couple days, and I think he was going to get back on trail. I know he planned to get back on trail, so I hope that he did. Other people, their feet were wrecked. They had blisters. They were feeling the altitude, all of those kinds of things. So if I can give you one tip for starting the Colorado Trail at Waterton, is just take it easy for the first couple days, especially if you're not accustomed to the altitude. Waterton, that 6.2 miles is hot, it's exposed. Even if you start early in the morning, it can be very sunny. So just pace yourself. 8 miles maybe is too short for you, depending on what time you start. Maybe you want to do 12, but you could do 12 in a day and still kind of slow roll it. So yeah, you don't need to do 20 miles out of the gate. Next thing is that my mistake, and I know several people were trying to do the same thing, it's like, let's get on trail and let's go straight to Breck, so we don't have to stop in Bailey, or we don't want to stop in Jefferson or Fairplay. And that 8-day food carry made my pack really heavy. It was not fun. And a lot of times, this is true not just for me, but for a lot of backpackers, is that the first couple days on trail, you either don't have a lot of appetite, or your stomach might even be a little bit upset. So you can carry typically a little bit less food, but even with that in mind, my food bag, coupled with the heavy water carries, was basically doubling my base weight, or at least it felt like it. My base weight is 15 pounds, but by the time I added, probably close to 10 pounds of food and maybe 5 pounds of water, liter is 2.2 pounds per liter for water. that really increased the weight, and that is hard when you're starting out on a long distance hike. I really did not need to carry 8 days of food. It is so easy to get into Bailey. The folks at the Two Bridges hostel are amazing. You can just walk right to town from the hostel, and there's a couple other hostels and places to stay there as well. So you could stop at the trailhead, you could dip into town and even get back on the trail if you want to in the same day, or just spend the night, do yourself a favor, take a shower, have a meal in town when you're 3 or 4 days out into the trail, and then go on your way. Or even plan to stop in Jefferson. It's 5 miles down the road. It's an easy hitch in and out from Kenosha Pass, so you can do that. So those are just some quick tips. And then one other thing that I have been thinking about as I was hiking is that several years ago I came up with a water bottle hack where I had hose that attached to my sternum strap for my backpack with a little bite valve on it, and kind of went over my shoulder and down into a liter bottle in my pack. And that was really convenient because I could be drinking on the trail all the time. However, I decided that I really did like the idea of, transferring some of the weight to the front of my pack and having a water bottle pocket in the front. So I have used, iced tea bottles, Gatorade bottles, that sort of thing. And I have seen other hikers using this Hydro Pack bottle. It's a collapsible bottle. These are originally designed for runners. So I thought, well, let me just try this. This hose actually can come out, and you can put just a small bite valve in it if you prefer. But when I put this in my pack up at Laurie State Park when I was doing that training hike, this was just flopping in my face, and it was really unpleasant. And the other thing I didn't really care for is that the largest size you can get this in is a 0.6 liter, and I want to have, even if it's in my front pocket, 0.75 liters, so that I've got 1 liter bottle in my pack, plus my liter Be-Free pouch, and then a water bottle that's the size, basically 0.75. Then I've got almost 3 liters of carrying capacity for those long, hot carries. I didn't like this. I did take it when I started the Colorado Trail, and I'd say by day 3 max, maybe day 2, I had just collapsed it and thrown it into the bottom of my food bag because I was like, I need something better than this. So what I'm going to do is actually modify my hack, and I've seen some other folks have done this, but basically you just buy some refrigerator water hose at a Home Depot or Lowe's, one of those home improvement stores, and just cut as much hose as you need, and then maybe a little bit more so it can stick out the top of the bottle. And then get yourself a little bite valve. This is made by Osprey. This is a replacement bite valve that you can get at REI and other stores, and this will fit just right into the end of your hose. So you can make it as long as you want, but this hose is a little bit more sturdy, and because where this bottle collapses as you drink, it doesn't actually have a hose that goes down into the bottle. It's just the suction that makes it collapse. Your bottle won't collapse, and so you don't need as long of a straw to get suction, and you can decide, do you want it to be just, a little short bit, or do you want it a little bit longer? You want to take the flip top that comes with a Smart Water bottle, or this is actually Life Water that I like. The hose is just a little wider than the hole in here. And the easy way to fix that is just take your little pocket knife, and there's usually like a little tiny lip on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little tiny lip around the edge of there, and you could just go in with the edge of your knife and kind of shave that out a little bit at a time until the hose fits in there. But the advantage of this is that you can drink constantly while you're hiking. And one of the challenges that I had was I was just using this bottle in my pack. And every time I wanted to drink, I kind of had to stop, take it out, take a couple sips, and then get it back into the pocket. So it slowed me down a little bit, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with taking little breaks. But even though I thought I was drinking as much water as I possibly could, I do suspect that maybe I was not getting enough. And that might be what contributed to the infection that I have been dealing with. And I know I didn't give you a lot of details yesterday. Basically what was happening is that, and this is gross, so if you have queasy, just skip ahead. But basically, and you may have seen this when you get dehydrated, is that my urine was getting very, very dark. And it wasn't even just like dark and concentrated. It was looking like, I don't even know, dark reddish brown. It was gross, it was thick, it was cloudy. And I got really concerned because I thought, is this a UTI? Because after I would pee, I'd have to pee again right away, but it would be very painful, and I couldn't get any urine out. So for the rest of the day, after my urine got to that dark, icky state, I was pretty miserable for the rest of the day because I really couldn't urinate. But then once I got down to camp and, had dinner, was off my feet, was drinking, at least a liter or more in the evening, I would kind of get back to normal and then start out fine in the morning. And then over the course of the day, this would happen again. So I really wasn't sure if I was having a problem with hydration, if it was a urinary tract infection, if it's a kidney infection. I honestly don't know yet because my first pass at the test when I went to the urgent care came back negative for a urinary tract infection. So they had to send that sample to be cultured to see if anything comes back. And it is possible that it's a kidney infection. It's possible that's dehydration if it's not the urinary tract infection. So the medicine that I'm on should take care of any of those things except the dehydration. So I'm going to make sure that I've got this hack down so that I can drink constantly on the go and make sure that I'm really fully hydrated, because even though you're at high altitude, 10, 12,000 feet, it is hot, it is sunny in Colorado, and because you're that much closer to the sun, you do really expel a lot of moisture just through breathing hard, not only, through evaporation through your skin, through sweat, that sort of thing, just your breathing is getting rid of a lot of water and a lot of moisture from your body. So you have to be sure that you almost overcompensate for that. I am confident that I'm going to be okay. I am planning to go back to Breckenridge tomorrow. I'm going to wait overnight tomorrow night just to make sure everything's okay and hopefully hear back from the doctor on that final test. But they did give me the go-ahead to start hiking. So I'm going to do that, but just sort of slow roll up for the first 4 days, meet up with Andy next weekend, have a good weekend as we had previously planned, and then continue on to finish the trail, God willing. And then at the very end, I'll hop back and go from Breck to Kenosha Pass to finish that little gap because I am jumping ahead just a tiny bit. So anyway, that's what I have been up to. That's what I've learned in the past week. And I hope that's helpful to you. And I will look forward to seeing you when I get back on the trail. Thanks for watching.